When the facts bend reality, this is beyond plausible.
Many people would say this is a large animal living in the desert, eating grass, and if something is wrong, it might be their spitting behavior. Some species have 2 humps and some people see them with only 1 hump. It was once thought that they might store water in them. Sometimes humans even compare themselves to them when they have to bear an excessive workload. Perhaps that's all the general public usually knows about camels. This video takes you into the world of these desert shits, exploring why they live in the desert and whether this interesting creature only lives there. Why they have 1 or 2 humps and many other interesting things we will explore about this strange animal right now. The evolutionary history of camels originates from the distant past. It's believed that the first ancestors of modern camels appeared about 40 million years ago in North America, evolving from their ancient ancestor in tropical forests, the Protolopus. This is an extinct genus belonging to the primitive even-toed ungulates group. Some researchers classify them in the Camelidae family, and Protolopus is the oldest known ancient camel species. Additionally, it was also the smallest among camel species. Ancient camels gradually became larger over time, and although many species once existed, unfortunately they did not survive to the present day. One of those species was the giant camel Procamelus that decided to cross the Bering Land Bridge to Asia, where they adapted to the diverse and harsh temperature conditions of the steppes and desert landscapes. Some camels stayed in Asia and became Bactrian camels. Meanwhile, another part went further in search of new adventures. And when reaching Africa, they evolved into dromedary camels, adapting to the hot desert climate. Some other close relatives of camels still exist today, like the guanaco and vicuña. They took a different path through the Panama Land Bridge to South America and hid from predators in the Andes Mountains, where they still live today. Later, camels were introduced to Australia by humans. They were transported here by the British in the 19th century to help explore the arid and difficult regions. Over time, camels repeated the history of horses on this continent. The development of railways and roads replaced camels from the transportation field. Many animals were subsequently abandoned. They moved freely, reproduced, and eventually firmly settled in Australia's desert regions. There are no predators in Australia strong enough to threaten camels. Even dingo dogs are inferior because camels are too strong for them. Within 100 years, the wild camel population doubled every year. By the 2000s, there were about 1 million camels living in Australia. And now, camels are causing significant damage to the natural environment on this rocky continent. In some areas, they have destroyed up to 80% of vegetation. During droughts, wild camels can destroy fences, break pumps, damage water tanks, and even toilets in search of water. Australians are racking their brains thinking about what to do with these wild guests. On other continents, things didn't happen that way. About 3,000 years ago, humans domesticated both camel species. And since then, they have become valuable assets in the harsh desert conditions. Camels hardly exist in the wild anymore. They went extinct in North America. In Eurasia, only a small population of Bactrian camels remains, also known as the wild Bactrian camel, living in the Gobi Desert of Mongolia, near the border with China. Strangely enough, even in Africa, only the dromedary camel species survives, a domesticated version. Wild camels completely went extinct at the beginning of the Common Era. History remains silent about how this happened. Scientists and experts still haven't found the answer whether humans or harsh conditions partly caused the wild camel to disappear. There was a time when some scientists even believed that the single-humped camel was actually a species created by humans from the two-humped Bactrian camel, thanks to ancient breeders. Dromedary and Bactrian camels can interbreed and produce fertile hybrid offspring. What's special is that in dromedary camel embryos, two humps initially form, then they gradually merge into one. But that's not just about the number of humps. Dromedary and Bactrian camels also have many clear differences stemming from their habitats in different terrains. Bactrian camels have a stocky body, shorter legs, covered with long and thick fur. Clearly they have adapted not only to heat, but also to the extreme cold often found in Central Asian deserts. Meanwhile, dromedary camels have a taller body, though not heavier than the two-humped camel species. They have thicker, more slender legs and neck, shorter fur, and don't appear in places with clearly cold climates. Dromedary camels thrive in the hottest deserts. According to most experts, the wild ancestor species of dromedaries once lived in the Arabian desert and possibly the Sahara, but disappeared not only from the earth but also from human memory. Naturally, it might be difficult to tame camels. Not only because camels are large animals, but they also have impressive strength. The weight of an adult camel can reach up to 800 kilograms and height at the shoulder can reach 2 meters. Compared to other surviving mammal species, the camel's body is perfect like a carefully calculated machine. From a human perspective, the desert is certainly not a suitable place to live. Deserts come in many types, but if an area is called by this word, then we don't need to doubt that it has some extreme characteristics. Deserts are very hot, at least for most of the year, and have very little water. The available water sources here are also unevenly distributed. Vegetation is sparse. Landscapes offer no shelter from the scorching sun or dust storms. Extremely high temperatures and lack of water cause many difficulties for all desert inhabitants, especially for warm-blooded animals. Sunlight and hot air continuously transfer a huge amount of heat into the body. For a large animal that cannot hide in burrows, the only way to avoid overheating is to continuously cool down by evaporating water, which means using the most precious resource. This problem seemed unsolvable. But during evolution, camels succeeded in minimizing both water consumption and heat absorption. Thick fur doesn't. On the back, where heat exposure is greatest under the sun, thermal protection is further enhanced by fatty tissue in the humps. The nostrils have valves that only open when inhaling and exhaling, to avoid losing excess water vapor. Camel feces are also very dry and urine is extremely concentrated. This is achieved because the camel's kidney system retains the maximum possible amount of water. However, the problem cannot be solved only by passive measures. They had to sacrifice something, and camels chose to sacrifice body temperature stability. If humans feel a body temperature change of just 1 degree from 37 degrees Celsius is already a sign of serious illness, then camel body temperature can fluctuate from 34 degrees Celsius to 41 degrees Celsius. Only when exceeding the upper limit do sweat glands activate to remove dangerous heat. The camel's body not only has water-saving capabilities, but can also store water in huge quantities. During long journeys across arid lands, the camel can lose up to 25% of its original body weight compared to when fully hydrated, without harming health and spirit. In desperate situations, camels can even survive after losing up to 40% of body weight, while most other mammals die when losing 15 to 20% of water. This is partly because in normal animals, dehydration mainly occurs through blood plasma, from which sweat is filtered. Then blood viscosity increases, making the heart unable to withstand it, ultimately leading to pathology and death. In camels, even when losing significant water, blood viscosity hardly increases, other tissues take over the water-yielding work, and blood plasma remains preserved as a reserve for the most extreme situations. But when the camel reaches the water source, its water storage capacity will amaze us. In 10 minutes, a camel can drink up to 130 liters of water. For ordinary creatures, even with perfect blood composition balance mechanisms, introducing such a large amount of water into the body in a short time would normally cause a drop in osmotic pressure in the plasma, leading to the rupture and death of blood cells. But camels are different. Their blood has a special structure. This seemingly contradictory fact is explained by the characteristics of the red blood cells, erythrocytes, in camel blood. They can increase their volume up to 2.5 times after the camel has drunk enough water. This is the key difference between camels and other animals. Additionally, camel plasma contains a large amount of protein, especially albumin, which helps control the water content in the body, including in the blood. Maintaining a certain level of moisture in the blood is a necessary condition for survival in a water-scarce environment. Camel red blood cells do not have the biconcave disc shape like those of other mammals, but instead have an elongated, coconut-like shape. This structure is sturdy enough to withstand significant osmotic pressure impacts. Finally, another adaptation of camels to water-deficient conditions is their way of moving. The camel's gait is not too fast but extremely energy efficient, allowing this animal to travel up to 90 kilometers per day, moving from grasslands to water sources and back. High temperatures and aridity are not the only challenges in desert life. Water scarcity limits plant productivity and causes vegetation to develop distinct seasonal patterns. In spring, the desert is full of flowers and green plants, but within less than a month, most of what remains of the vegetation are only withered stems or thorny cacti that are difficult to access. This is when camels demonstrate their remarkable adaptability. Almost any type of grass and shrub, except for truly toxic species, can serve as food for them. Camels are not bothered by large thorns or sharp leaf edges like blades of grass. Their strong lips are covered with a tough skin. Inside the lips and cheeks are keratinized spines pointing towards the throat. Grass in any condition can be consumed by them. If given a choice, camels will naturally prefer fresh green plants. But if conditions become difficult, dry stems can also be used, even if they only contain cellulose. Camels digest even these substances thanks to their complex stomachs, ability to ruminate, long digestive tract allowing fermentation, and a rich symbiotic bacterial community. It is these bacteria that digest cellulose. All of this closely resembles the digestive mechanisms of ruminants, which are famous for processing low-nutrient food. In cases where there is insufficient food in the desert, or even none for a period, camels always have a backup plan. The famous humps almost entirely consist of fatty tissue. During periods of abundant food, fat is stored in the humps, and during times of food scarcity, it is used as an alternative source. As long as there is a certain reserve in the humps, the camel will still feel healthy. To survive in harsh conditions, not only strength, endurance, and the ability to last long without water are needed. Another important aspect is having good observation, hearing, and smelling abilities. Camels have highly developed senses. They can distinguish a person or predator approaching from a distance of up to a kilometer. They also have a strong sense of smell. Thanks to their sense of smell, camels can locate water sources from 40 to 50 kilometers away. Deserts also have various types of soil and terrain, while they can walk comfortably on flat areas like takirs. Areas of cracked salt crust formed from dried lakes or rocky deserts, like paved roads, moving on dunes is very difficult for a large and heavy animal like the camel. Moreover, any type of soil exposed to the sun during the day becomes so hot that direct contact can cause burns. But camels also have a unique solution for this problem: their feet. Instead of using the classic hooves found in most hoofed animals, camels have feet with 2 toes and curved claws. The bottom of the foot is a hard and elastic pad. When walking, this structure flattens out, preventing the camel's foot from sinking deep into the sand. The elastic pads also cover the knees and elbow joints of the camel, along with other parts of the body that frequently contact hot sand or rocks. All these characteristics apply to both the Bactrian camel and its one-humped relative, the dromedary camel. However, besides the Bactrian camel having 2 humps for survival, it also faces another problem that the dromedary camel does not encounter. In African and Arabian deserts, temperatures can be extremely high and rarely drop below freezing. But in the deserts and semi-deserts of Central Asia, the summer heat gives way in winter to severe frost. The homeland of the Bactrian camel, the Gobi Desert, is particularly notable for temperatures that can drop below -40 degrees Celsius in winter. Therefore, while the dromedary camel has short, thick fur year-round, even the summer coat of the Bactrian camel is much longer and thicker than that of its one-humped relative. In winter, the Bactrian camel dons a true fur coat. The average length of winter fur is about 7 centimeters, and on the hump tops of the lower neck, tufts can reach up to 30 centimeters long. By spring, the Bactrian camel sheds its fur in patches, and during this time, its appearance looks extremely shaggy. As we know, the wild ancestors of these perfect desert dwellers no longer exist today. Therefore, preserving the masterpiece of this evolution now depends entirely on humans. There is an entire industry dedicated to raising and using camels: the camel husbandry industry. Today, this industry plays an important role in livestock farming, mainly in some arid and Islamic countries with large desert and semi-desert areas. These countries are primarily in the Middle East and North Africa. Mostly, only dromedary camels are raised here, as they are better adapted to the heat. The total global camel population today is about 20 million, with about half concentrated in North African and Middle Eastern countries. These dromedary camels are also raised in Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, India, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. The Bactrian camel is raised in Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Mongolia, and China. In Russia, in the regions of Astrakhan, Volgograd, Oromel, Chernovets, Kalmykia, and Tuva, Bactrian camels of 3 breeds, Kalmyk, Kazakh, and Mongolian, are raised. At the same time, the dromedary Avanta breed is also raised here. Additionally, Bactrian and dromedary camels are crossbred to develop breeds with greater weight. In the camel husbandry industry, breeders have long known that crossbreeds with characteristics, including important economic characteristics, significantly superior to both parent breeds. This phenomenon is called hybrid vigor, also known as heterosis. Hybrid breeds of the first generation and subsequent generations all have different names, such as Nar, Anar, Sarb, Korsbach, Kurt, all of which are hybrid camel breeds. When thinking of camels, the first thing an ordinary person might think of is their famous spitting habit. However, strangely enough, camels don't actually spit as much as people think. This only happens if someone excessively annoys them while standing nearby. In fact, camels primarily spit for self-defense, to protect their young from predators, or during mating season. If someone unfortunately encounters an attack from a camel, it doesn't diminish the reputation of this extremely useful animal, especially in arid and desert regions around the world. Camels have long been used as a means of transportation. Their ability to carry heavy loads and travel long distances without water makes them the top choice for caravans and trade routes. Camel hide is used to produce high-quality products like shoes, bags, and belts. Camel hair, especially that of Bactrian camels, is soft and warm, making it an excellent material for making clothes, blankets, and other woven fabrics. It has excellent insulation properties, particularly important during cold desert nights. Camel meat is an important food source for many peoples living in desert areas. Fresh camel milk has special characteristics. It contains a natural antibiotic called lactoferrin. Moreover, the milk doesn't spoil for a long time. The immunoglobulins in the milk have the ability to fight fungi and viruses, helping to enhance the protective functions of the human body. This characteristic has attracted significant attention from scientists. Camels have superior immune systems. They don't contract many diseases that other mammals often die from. Camel bodies naturally produce more primitive antibodies compared to human bodies. This provides an opportunity for humans to reproduce these antibodies in laboratories. Scientists believe that in the near future, these antibodies could be used to eliminate most viruses that cause colds in humans. In many cultures, camels hold important cultural and social significance. They are symbols of endurance and adaptability, often appearing in traditional events and festivals. In some regions, camel farming is also an important part of the economy, providing income and jobs for local people. Images of camels also appear on some emblems and flags of cities and regions. Camels are symbols of some Asian and Arab countries. In Asian countries, it not only symbolizes power and nobility, but also arrogance and pride. Currently, camels appear on the national emblem and flag of Chukotka. Camels are also present on the emblem of Eritrea, and strangely, the emblem of the city of Pilsen in the Czech Republic also features a camel image. Even though this is an animal completely uncommon in this part of Europe. It turns out that after the famous Battle of Grunwald in 1410, King Sigismund decided to honor the soldiers of the Pilsen region for their contributions in that battle and awarded them a camel. Additionally, people often name mountains or hills after camels. Mountain ranges with contours resembling camelbacks with one or two humps are often compared to the shape of a resting camel. For example, Camel Mountain is the northwesternmost volcano of Piatigorsk. Camels are one of the most amazing and versatile animals on the planet. They help humans survive and develop in the harshest environments on our planet. Their importance cannot be underestimated, and the respect for these marvelous creatures must be accompanied by recognition of their enormous contributions to human culture and survival. The ship of the desert is the poetic name humans have given to these marvelous creatures. They truly glide across the vast sands, like sails on the sea. Although civilization has developed and the surrounding world has become busy, with camels, everything has remained unchanged for thousands of years, as they continue their eternal journey across the desert. And are you fascinated by this captivating animal? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below.
Curious? Subscribe and step through the next anomaly.